Hey everybody, this is just gonna hopefully be a very quick video covering the last steps to do before just like preparing your file to be printed. So here's the list. It's in an announcement on Canvas, but we're basically just going to be making our file as easy as possible for them to print. So first, with our final animal, we're gonna apply any modifiers that we have on it. So some of you might have a mirror modifier on it. You apply it by first going back into object mode, then over where the modifier is, where that wrench is, there should be a little drop down arrow next to that camera where you can do apply. If you do not see that arrow, you might have been in edit mode. So make sure you are in object mode and then it'll apply that mirror modifier. You might, in some cases, need to clean up that center seam depending on how it was laying, but hopefully not. Any other modifiers, I would apply them just so that it's a solid mesh. So now, if there are any of you that had an animal that's made up of multiple objects, so mine is just made from like one cube. But if you had multiple cubes or spheres or anything making up your animal, you'll want to join them. There's two strategies to do it. The first way is their preferred way because it's going to have um, a better mesh for the printer to read, I guess. That way isn't always reliable depending on how complicated your mesh is. So if it is too complicated, it might not work or it might just look really gross. And there is a plan B for that. It'll just make a little bit of more like nonsensical or like redundant meshes for the printer. But it should also work. But here's the preferred way. So preferred way is Booleans. Boolean. It's this basically shape builder where you're using like other shapes to change your OG shape. So say I'm making box head bear. What I'm going to do is in object mode, select my like main object, which is my bear, and I'm going to do add modifier and find Boolean. And then with that, if I click this eyedropper right here and select the object I want to be added on to mine, and you can see like this is a completely separate object from my bear cube, but you can see, actually pay attention right now, you can see like this orangey yellow highlight of my bear face. Once I hit my eyedropper on the square, you can see that changed, and because I had different selected, it's basically using the square to chop off that part of the bear's face. Intersect's just gonna save what is intersecting between the two forms, and union, you can see now the outline is extended around the square. Union is adding on the object, so that is what most cases y'all will be wanting. So with this, if you have multiple objects you're adding on, I highly recommend you do one at a time where you, once you have done the Boolean, you go ahead and apply it so that it'll like finalize the mesh. If at any point you notice after applying the Boolean, part of your mesh disappears, that means the mesh was a little bit too complicated, the Boolean failed. And either you'll have to clean up the mesh before reattempting it, or you'll do plan B. So if you do want to reattempt cleaning up like the mesh first, like you could just have way too many polys on there for it to understand. But once you have like, this is gross now. Like if I tried to do a Boolean right here, it might fail because it's pretty gross. So if it is like reasonable to clean, I would recommend doing that. Really quick before I clean, you can see right now, this like flashing happening. This is because when I do a Boolean, it keeps the old cube in addition to the new like bear head cube. So they're just like clipping into each other. So I'm just gonna hide that other version of the cube, and you can see the remaining cube is part of my bear. So I'm not gonna fully clean this, but just show my strategy for cleaning if you did want to attempt it. I find cleaning to be very meditative, very relaxing. So you can see all this random nonsense vertices. I'm just gonna try to the best of my ability, make as many things just 4 vertice, like 4 corner polys. So how I'm gonna do that is click on one vertex at a time, and then hit GG and slide it into a neighboring vertex. That'll make it be a 4 like corner scenario. So I just go along, look for random unnecessary vertices, do GG, slide it, GG, slide it as far as it'll go, GG, slide it. And then once you've made progress or have gotten all of them, you can hit A, mesh, clean up, merge by distance, and you can see it removed 8 vertices. So you could do some form of that to attempt to clean it up. Option 2, if that's still not working, or if you notice like your mesh is just way too complicated to try to clean, you can do the other way. So for this, let me really quick add another cube. Wait, what do I want? Shift G, Shift Y, G, Shift X. Sorry, I'm trying to put it on his back. This is important. Okay, so again, I have 2 separate objects. I want them to be one, but for some reason my Boolean's failing. You can just join them. So what you do for that is you just click on one of them, shift select the other one in object mode, and then it's Control J for me. I'm assuming it's like Option J, but otherwise you can right click on your mesh and then click join. And now you can see in object mode, now that orange line is around both objects. Really quick to show you like the difference between these 2 methods. If I go inside my bear, you can see for where I did the Boolean, it made it so that it's like one continuous mesh forming the exterior of those spaces. With the just simply joined shapes, you can see I have some interior faces or exterior, I guess outward facing faces inside of the body. So this is where like it's probably going to be fine for printing. It's just like a little bit nonsensical for it to read in some instances. If it's like really not working, they might either contact you or contact me to contact you about it, or they might clean it themselves. But main thing is you want everything to be one object at the end of the day. What's our next thing? Oh, next thing is now that we have one object, all of our modifiers applied, we're going to scale down our animal. So to check the current scale, you're just going to hit N on the keyboard, and under that item tab, it should have a scale. So with this, is my bear really, this happened on someone else, where it was showing up as 111 when it definitely wasn't that before. I wonder if I applied something and it made it do that. Okay, we'll do this now. That's more trustworthy. Pretend the other cube isn't there. Okay, so with this, we're going to, in object mode, hit S. We're using S to scale it. We're not typing the number just because S will scale it in all directions at once. But you want the longest, whatever the longest number is for that XYZ. Oh, I'm pointing at it with my finger. But for this XYZ at scale, you want the longest one to be 0.075. Because they asked for 0.075 or 75 millimeters to be the like around the max scale. So I'm just scaling it down until the biggest one's like 0.075. You can see it made it very, very, very small. Once you're at this scale, if you've noticed your like camera's being really wonky, like you're having a lot of trouble zooming in, if you hit tilde, make sure you have it selected first. But if you hit tilde and then view selected, it'll like basically reacclimate your camera's zoom to be at that scale. Some clipping scenarios might happen depending on how close or how far from the object you are, but it should still be there. Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, yeah. So now we're just going to export it. So what you're going to do is select your object. Again, it should just be one thing you have to select at this point. Then you're going to go up to File, Export, STL. I will keep my Apply modifier selected. If yours has the selection only, it might have it above. You can see mine's like within here, but you also want to click selection only. I forgot to say this during class. Yours might be like in a section above this, but this should make it so that it only has your selection included in the STL file for them to print. And then you're just going to submit, name the STL in your most recent blend file with your first name, last name, and your animal name. And then please submit those in those folders. And let me know if you run into any issues, but hopefully everyone's stuff will print smoothly. Thanks everyone. Bye.